Milepost A808.0 on the CFRC Subdivision, the SunRail corridor. We're here at the Kissimmee Amtrak SunRail station to begin a day north on the corridor. The SunRail corridor is on the ex-Atlantic Coastline Railroad and on a portion of ex-CSX trackage. This portion of the line between DeLand and Poinciana was once part of the CSX Sanford Subdivision, which went from St. John's near Jacksonville, Florida, down to Auburndale, Florida. The FDOT, Florida Department of Transportation, purchased this line from CSX for their SunRail commuter trains, with CSX retaining trackage rights over the line. First train of the day here is P317, southbound for Poinciana. After this train would be a real treat, as it's something we're not seeing too many times a year on the SunRail corridor. The double track just north of the station here singles up at the control point known as Middle Kissimmee, then goes north a mile and some to North Kissimmee where it doubles out again. This train, clearing that block, dispatcher had lined the switch for track 2 for a northbound train, with the signal now showing an approach limited. Our train was holding back at the south end of Kissimmee to not block the downtown crossings while it waited for the southbound SunRail. Now with P317 on its way south, we patiently wait for the northbound surprise. On Facebook, we have a train reporting page that users use to report trains they have info on or have sighted running to or in the state of Florida. About an hour earlier, a rail fan down in Auburndale had posted there was a northbound OUC coal train rolling up the A line out of the Carter sub, which would have normally been held and tied down to the siding at Stokes north of Lakeland. So this told me they're going to run this train all the way in during the daytime, being the fact that it's running north through Auburndale.
Track 2 first limited, Middle Kissimmee, number 2 single main northbound.
CSX and SunRail have an agreement to allow freight trains to operate over the CFRC main line if needed between the hours of 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. In earlier years, SunRail was pretty good with letting this happen on weekdays, but soon after they tightened up on it, not really allowing CSX to run during these times and sticking them to the nightly operating window from 2200 to 0500. On weekends, they're more likely to let CSX use the line during the day when needed because there's no SunRail to be interfered with, as they don't run on weekends. This train here was a shock due to the fact that it was a weekday and on a weekend, and something like this hadn't been seen in quite a long time. Moving up the line now, we stop at the north end of Taft, crossovers for Amtrak 91. Here, at the A798 milepost, is a double-track main line with a Taft ramp lead, although it wasn't always like this. Before the Phase 2 construction of SunRail, or SunRail in general, this was still CSX, this was the north end of Taft siding, which hosted 2 searchlight signals for the main line and a color light signal for the siding and ramp lead, which also went into the service track. Just south of Taft Yard, we wait for Amtrak PO 91, the southbound Silver Star. Here at the 797 milepost is CSX's Taft Yard. Built in the 1970s by the Seaboard Coastline, Taft Yard is one of the base of operations for the Orlando area, serving industries in the Taft, Orlando, and Poinciana areas. This is also where the Florida Central Railroad interchanges with CSX here in Orlando. During the day, you can come along Orange Avenue, and it's a good place to watch the CSX switch cars out from the nightly train and build the night's locals. There are 3 daytime locals in Taft, 2 you can catch. The first is the one shown here, A776, aka First Taft, which is the yard switcher. The second is the ramp switcher, A779, that works the auto rack ramp across the street. Third is A777, also known as A777, which goes down the main line to the RC Industrial branch in the mornings and works the Sexton Spur west of Taft in the afternoons. One neat thing to watch here at the yard switcher is that you can see them kicking cars, or fly switching, as some old heads call it. Next up, we're at Pine Lock Yard, looking at the CP South Orlando, waiting for Amtrak 97, the southbound Silver Meteor out of Orlando Station. Next up, we're in downtown Winter Park at the Winter Park Amtrak and SunRail station to film Amtrak 98 Silver Meteor northbound and a few more SunRail trains while we're at it.
P319 to 102 northbound on the main calling K Kane, over. Winter Park Station, confirming track number 2. Roger.
Morning, and we got a 30 coming along with activation failure. Oh wow.
Alright, Florida. Winter Park, stop to the rear block. We have a 30 up, and then activation to the right here.
Delay back there was we were missing a Winter Park over.
Alright, no problem, no problem.
Go on. We got a clear signal Winter Park.
Clear. 98 up.
98 forming KK over.
Continuing north on our journey up the CFRC today, we arrive at Lake Lily in Maitland, Florida. We're here waiting on a northbound SunRail P322 and a southbound SunRail P325. The signal just to our south is the distant to Winter Park going south, and going north it's also the distant signal to Maitland. Both are where the single main goes to 2 tracks in both directions.
Northbound, single main guy, approach limited. Lake Lily, permission by KK, flaggers both directions, max speed.
Go to Lake Lily, P312 out.
Next up is the Longwood crossovers at the milepost A779.0 for 3 SunRail trains. south now, we're at CP Maitland, where the single track between Winter Park and Maitland go from single to double heading north. We get here just in enough time to see a southbound SunRail train arriving at a station stop, then proceeding south. With the train by us, we look north, and the dispatcher lines the track to the number 2, and the signal upgrades to a limited clear for the northbound SunRail.
Parking dock. Act 28, proceed through East Packwood, working as intended, over. Got a limited clear, Maitland, single main number 2 north, over.
Now down south to the Middle Orlando Control Point crossovers, just south of the CSX Cayley Yard and the Orlando Amtrak station in downtown Orlando, in what locals refer to as the Soto District. This actually wasn't filmed on this day, this was filmed a few days prior, but here's a southbound CSX rerouted empty phosphate train down the A line. This train usually takes the S line down to Lakeland, but today, due to a fire in Dade City, it was taken down the A line.
with Bolton number 4891. Report limit from milepost 790.9 to milepost 789.0. You have permission through my limits in that northbound direction on that number 2 track. Authorized speed permitted through 3 and all men equipment are in the clear and no need for any recalls. Over.
Alright, returning to your C, David, northbound track 2, CFRC PT27, CFRC is 109. Just got permission through limits number Bolton 4891. 790.9, 789.0. Men equipment are in clear. No speed restrictions, no recalls. Over.
SC 327, that is a good repeat at 1755. Over.
755, thank you, man. John Wall, we gotta get out here before it rains. I know it. 1754 for Snacks, 1755 is third. Authorization no recall for either or. All three of them are likely to have an 8 spot per length.